And then after we cover the history, we're going to talk some more about the vision and the challenge, because we have a little bit of an engineering challenge to get through, but that's why you're here tonight. And we're going to ask you to imagine, what should the North Coast Connector look like? What should it connect to? How would you like to experience the North Coast in the future? So we will have many opportunities to hear your ideas at your table, and we're going to have a lot of great discussion, and then we'll report out at the end of the evening. My job is to make sure I get you out on time, so when you do that table discussion, I will be doing some reminders just to keep you on track so that we can hear everything you have to say. I want to thank the table captains and our volunteers who are here this evening. They very graciously are here enthusiastically to help you keep on track and answer your questions. So I know you'll get to know everybody at your table, but a special nod to our table captains and volunteers tonight. So to get us rolling, I got some questions. So I'm going to ask how you got here tonight, and I want you to raise your hand when I hit how you got here. All right, who drove a vehicle tonight? Okay, a lot of drivers. Who got here by Uber, Lyft, taxi? Okay, I see a couple. Anybody carpool? All right, let's hear some carpoolers. Anybody walk? All right, walkers. Ride a bike. Sweet. Anybody ride a scooter or an e-bike? And if you already raised your hand with a bike, you can raise your hand again. Okay? Anybody ride a bus or take the train? Sweet. How many did a combination? Didn't everybody start with a walk to get to their car? Right? Okay? And is there anything else? Ride a yak? Ride a canoe? Okay. So, 2 more questions. And this gets to the heart of your discussion this evening. And that is, when you come downtown, do you ever go to the lake? If so, raise your hand. Okay, a lot of you go to the lake. Would you like to have a way to walk and ride your bike more safely to the lake? I see some nods. Okay. You are in the right place, because that's what we're going to talk about. But to share the vision first, it is my privilege and honor to introduce Mayor Justin Bibb.
I like walking around and talking, you know. I'm just so excited to see the rotunda filled with folks excited to help us truly execute a brand new, bold vision for what I'm calling not just Cleveland's North Coast, but America's North Coast right here in Cleveland, Ohio. You know, for a long time, our lakefront has been a dividing line in our city. East side, west side, black, white. And I truly believe that as we write this next chapter in Cleveland's story for our lakefront, we have an historic opportunity to finally get it right. But it starts with each and every one of you, because if this process is not rooted in your voice, your ideas, your concerns, and your vision, it won't work. It won't work. And so we're kicking off this first town hall right here in the People's House, City Hall. We'll be going all across the city over the next couple of weeks to make sure we get as much input as we can. But we've already been building a strong foundation to execute our vision for the lakefront. First, we have engaged many different partners across the entire span of city government, from city planning to building and housing to economic and community development. The entire enterprise of City Hall is focused on this effort. Secondly, we've engaged a wide array of community organizations and key stakeholders to be a part of this important process as well too. And the third thing that's unique is that for the first time in a long time, we have leaders in DC and money in DC to take advantage of to make sure we can execute our big, bold vision for America's North Coast. But it starts with conversations like this one this evening. So again, on behalf of the great city of Cleveland, Ohio, I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for taking precious time out of your day to give your ideas and feedback. And I'm looking forward to the long, long road ahead. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. So I also want to thank you, Mayor Bibb, for your vision. And I want to thank Aaron, our interpreter today. So thank you, Aaron. And we also have Patty, who is assisting us today. So we appreciate your assistance. A couple of other housekeeping items. We have restrooms, women there, men's on that side. The exits are straight back, and there's also an exit through the garage here as well. So I'd also like to call up our Chief of Strategy, Brad Davey, and I'm going to run your slides for you, and it's up to you if you want the mic or the podium.
Hey neighbors, how's everybody doing? First, thank you, Marie. Thank you, Mayor, for gathering us here today. We're here to do something exciting that has been done before, right? To dream the dreams of really fulfilling our city's promise of connecting our communities to the lakefront. But it's important to first just take a quick look back on our history, on the plans and the actions that got us here tonight. So let's take a look back. This really started in the 1800s, a long time ago. The great divide between downtown Cleveland and the lakefront started in the mid-1800s when we maybe unintentionally constructed railways in between our city and our waterfront. So ever since, we've been sort of trying to grapple with figuring out this conundrum. Then if we jump forward about 50 years, the original plans for Cleveland civic buildings and the malls were created by, of course, the famous architect Daniel Burnham. And those proposed malls that extended the large open green space from Public Square to the shoreline. This should sound familiar to you. It is something that we will contemplate in just a short while. Then in the 1930s, the opening of the original municipal stadium on the lakefront, where there was areas for the Great Lakes Exposition. I'm sure you've seen those images and those pictures. They included a pedestrian bridge, something else that we'll talk about today, that extended from downtown over the rail lines, these caps that we'll spend some time grappling with this evening. And the first leg of the shoreway, which, of course, is part of the conversation tonight. We move forward to the 1940s, where highway expansion continued through downtown Cleveland to the Main Avenue Bridge. It continued to connect downtown Cleveland across the Cuyahoga River. The shore was extended east to west to meet the bridge. And at this point, we now have railroads and freeways that separate us from our waterways. The city also conducted its first lakefront plan from Edgewater to Gordon Park in this era, and that's where we started to think about what a pedestrian bridge might look like over the freeways and the tracks. Move ahead again to the 1980s, where there was a series of studies, one specifically focused on public space in the current project area that we'll discuss tonight. This citywide vision was called the Civic Vision Plan, and it proposed concentrations between Mall C and the lakefront. The 90s. North Coast Harbor Inc. was created and was established to plan lakefront attraction and really realize this civic vision that was to be met in the 2000, which also included a pedestrian bridge. We're talking about a pedestrian bridge for a long time, y'all. And then we move into the 2000s. In the early 2000s, there was yet another series of plans focused on softening the impacts of the shoreway, increasing the connections of nearby neighborhoods, and enhancing the waterfront. Both the 2004 and the 2011 plan included a pedestrian bridge, and at this point, the city began seeking funding to make the connection happen. And then, of course, the 2010s. The 2010s, the city and the county collaborated on the Rosales Bridge concept. The city decided not to pursue this concept. The construction costs were just too high, and the desire to create greater opportunities for development in the project area softened the resolve. And then the city did not, although the city did not build that bridge, we did construct the Rosales pedestrian bridge on the west side. That's in Whiskey Island that you may have visited recently. And then let's talk about now. Where are we today? In 2019, I know many of you may have been a part of this, the Green Ribbon Coalition took up this cause. They proceeded to propose land bridge concepts for achieving the ultimate goal of merging our lakefront with our downtown. And in 2021, the Haslam Sports Group came out with a concept that spurred civic interest and really explored the ways that we can. As the mayor mentioned, reconnecting Cleveland to the lakefront is a top priority for this administration. The impetus for this project is now to fully and finally realize all of these visions and collect our downtown to our lakefront, open up more land, more equitable opportunity, and more ways to access our water, not just downtown, but also throughout our neighborhoods. There's many, many ways that we can achieve this goal, but we most certainly need your help and your thoughts in how to do it. We look forward to engage with you over the next couple hours to hear your best-in-class responses and your ideas on how we can do better. But before we do that, I just want to thank, on behalf of the mayor, on behalf of the administration, all of the work that went into making this happen. Many of you have been working on this for years, and I specifically want to thank some of our local partners, the Ohio Department of Transportation, NOACA, and the Greater Cleveland Partnership for your commitment and your support. We look forward to engage over the next couple of hours. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to move from vision to reality. And if you gentlemen want to take a seat, and that way you don't have to crane your necks to look at the slides. So, what the heck is a land bridge? We keep using that term, and it's terminology that is also referred to as a cap or a lid over a freeway or a roadway. And so a cap doesn't quite capture what we're talking about here. A land bridge really communicates that it's more than just one strip that's just over a highway. So in the case of St. Louis, for example, it's still a bridge. It's still got steel and concrete and has to meet all of the regulations to meet safety and engineering requirements from a state and federal perspective. But what goes on top of it is really driven by community input. And that's where you come in. In St. Louis, this bridge is over I-44, a major freeway. But you see there's pedestrian walkways, there's a place you can bike, a place you can gather, and this is located right by the St. Louis Arch. In Dallas, Texas, we have the Clyde Warren Park, and their vision is even bigger than St. Louis. It's many land bridges, it's quite a span, and several parks that are connected together. And if you look in the middle of the screen, you can see there's a tunnel underneath that land bridge. So again, that just gives you a little bit of orientation of what we're talking about here. But as we talk about the vision and the challenge, I would like to invite Vicki Wildeman from Osborne. They are the consultant project management team, and Vicki is our consultant project manager.
Thank you very much. Am I on? All right, we're going to show you a video. Thank you. We're going to show you a short video that highlights some of the engineering challenges that we face in building a land bridge. This video begins at Mall C, looks at Mall B, and then at the end to the fountain on Mall A. So for those of you who aren't really sure where Mall B is, remember a few years ago when a certain basketball team won a championship and came back to town for a parade down East 9th? That parade ended at a stage where they all congratulated each other and they had speeches, and that stage was on Mall B. So let's start the video. As our view moves towards the fountain and then back to Mall C, we come upon the edge of the bluff overlooking the lakefront. As we move towards the lakefront, we see our bridge needs to span both the rail lines and the shoreway. To meet criteria, the bottom of our land bridge needs to be 23.5 feet above the rail lines and 16.5 feet above the shoreway pavement. As we slope down towards the lakefront, we also need to keep the bridge at a relatively flat slope to make sure we meet ADA requirements. To give you an idea of how much lower the lakefront is from Mall C, the elevation difference from the mall to the top of the Great Lakes Science Center parking garage, where you see the sidewalk running towards the lake, is 65 feet. As we end the video, you can see the open area north of the Science Center and the stadium that are just waiting for something to happen. With that. All right, so what we're presenting to you tonight is a series of buckets. As part of our study, we're looking at 4 general concept buckets to overcome those engineering challenges I talked about and achieve the connections that we want. The study will help us understand which concepts are most feasible to build, and we'll look at a variety of impacts that include traffic operations, utilities, environmental issues, and costs. At this point, the concepts are simply that, concepts. The design team needs to test these different concepts to see if they can physically be done. In other words, what is possible? There's a technical side to construction projects, but as you saw, how different the land bridges and caps were, these priorities express our community's values and priorities. We are including you in this early phase so that you can provide input that will guide the design of the North Coast Connector. So, with bucket A, this proposes keeping everything as it is today. We wouldn't build a land bridge, and we would keep the shoreway exactly as it is. In bucket A, the traffic moves and the land use essentially stays the same. The options you have to reach the lakefront from the downtown as a pedestrian or bicyclist are the sidewalks along West 3rd and East 9th Street. The shoreway is a high-speed highway, which is designed to move traffic through areas quickly. They are not designed to help traffic reach destinations within a specific area. They are limited access, meaning things like traffic signals and crosswalks are not permitted. You can't put in new uses like parks or buildings next to highways and connect them with driveways. Bucket B would build the land bridge over the railroad tracks and the existing shoreway. And it could be in various shapes and positions and sizes, as you can see on this map, but generally it would be in the area highlighted. The traffic stays the same, but there is more land available on the land bridge for more uses. In bucket B, the options that you have to reach the lakefront have increased now from West 3rd and East 9th Street, and now the connector. The land bridge itself provides more land for more uses. The shoreway stays the same, so there's no difference from bucket A. Bucket C. It includes a land bridge over the railroad tracks. However, the shoreway now becomes a boulevard. In the handouts on your table, you will see pictures of boulevards that we have throughout the city. Again, the land bridge could be in various shapes or positions, but generally it's in this area. Traffic moves very differently, and there is more land available for more uses. In bucket C, the options that you have to reach this downtown and the lakefront are the same as bucket B. The land bridge itself provides more land for more uses, and since there's no highway in this section, there's more land available for land uses, as a boulevard has a smaller footprint. The land next to the boulevard becomes more attractive for more uses because you can add driveways to them. And with the removal of the shoreway, bucket C includes a road specifically for port traffic, so the heavy trucks that carry materials to and from the port that now travel on the shoreway are separated and are on a separate road themselves. And lastly, bucket D includes a land bridge over the railroad tracks, but in this bucket, the shoreway is removed completely between the Main Avenue Bridge and East 9th Street, and there is no boulevard. Again, the land bridge could be in any various shape, size, or position, but again, it'd be in this area. In this bucket, the traffic behaves very differently, And of all the buckets, this has the most land available for the most uses because the shoreway is gone. However, you reach the lakefront the same way you did as in bucket C. The land bridge again provides more land for more uses, and there's more area because the boulevard and the shoreway are gone. However, since there is no longer a direct east-west connection through this area, traffic heading through downtown would need to use the city streets and get on and off at East 9th Street. And also in this one, we still have that dedicated port road. So with that, I'll turn it over to Marie. Thank you.
Okay, so quick test. What's the difference between all the buckets? You look at me with fear. The good news is you're going to have a chance to dive in at your table now and talk about it and look at exhibits that will show you right in front of you what the differences of those buckets are. So now you get to the fun stuff. We would like you to work with your table captains. They'll lead you through the discussions in Section B on your workbook. And in about 45 minutes, I'm going to ask you to report out. The table captains know to tell you what to do. Every now and then, I'm going to make an announcement just to help keep us all on time, and I'll let you know when you should wrap up your conversation. So with that, let the discussion begin.
No.
Okay, yeah.